brain.
I didn't realize what you were looking for, I'm sorry.
That's okay. My brain's not
I tell you, we're looking for
Anyway, so she had a little boy play. Actually got out there, and there were 3 little boys from her classroom. So we may be going back.
We're here. It's 3:01. Y'all ready to roll? Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Would our staff member call the roll, please?
Chairman Tamaez,
I am here.
Board Member Beaver,
Present.
Board Member Hillier,
Present.
Alternate Board Member Rowe,
Here.
and Alternate Board Member Smith.
Once upon a time, I had a printout of all of this. And apparently did not make it to this briefcase. Okay, thank you. Let's take a look at the minutes. Anybody got any comments to make about the minutes or a motion concerning those? And I'll continue to read.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes. I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes were approved by unanimous consent. Let's then move into the swearing of witnesses. And I'm sorry, I did not get that into this briefcase. It was supposed to be here, but apparently didn't make it.
I have an agenda.
That's okay.
I have an
We got,
extra.
I'm borrowing,
Kathy has
I have it back.
okay. That's all right. We're gonna end up sharing some other stuff. All right, thank you. Great. Okay.
Hang on, I'm sorry. We're limited to 15 in the room supposedly, but in order to swear the witnesses, I had to move one person out. I think we should bring them in real quick. Go ahead and swear him in.
Why don't you swap out with them so we can swear them in?
Swap out with him so that
Okay.
he can swear in.
That's fine.
I
Yes,
just won't
please.
be able to speak then.
All right, send them in so we can discuss this real quick and tell them what we're up to.
Okay. If you're coming in, that way you go ahead and swear in with everybody else. After that, come out and I'll swap with them.
All right, welcome to the party. Okay, so here's what we're up to. You missed the roll call and the approval of the minutes, but nothing else. At this point, what we do is we ask everybody who's going to speak for, against, or make any kind of a comment on anything on the agenda to stand all at once, raise your right hand all at once, and let the lady swear you in so that we can do that, and then we don't have to worry about that for the remainder of the proceeding. So if you would please, if you're going to speak, stand and raise your right hand. Go ahead.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to call these in the order that they appear, and they're in numeric order based on the date of filing or the order in which they're filed. The first item on the agenda is file 753BA. It's Scott Reeves of Struggle Street Brewery, 2140 Calder Street, asking for a variance to minimum side yard setback from 5 feet to 2 feet. And so we need that group in here. If others get excluded, then I'm sorry. But please do not leave if you're associated with that file. So if we could, let's hear the staff report about this item.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Scott Reeves of Struggle Street Brewery has applied for a variance to the minimum side yard setback for the property located at 2140 Calder Avenue. The property is zoned GCMD and therefore requires a 5-foot side yard setback. The applicant added a covered patio in the rear as a smoking area. This was built without a permit or inspections. A stop work order was issued. Upon speaking to the property owner and the applicant, it was suggested that the patio be moved to accommodate the side setback requirement. The applicant, however, did not wish to have the patio moved. Therefore, a variance was required. We did mail 14 notices. We received 2 responses in favor and 0 in opposition. So this is Struggle Street on Calder. This was the site plan that was submitted showing the smoking area in the back. It's not seen by the street. There is an alley in the rear. This was showing how close it is to the property line. It's right at 2 feet. Just another picture.
Am I correct in seeing that the building goes all the way from property line to property line?
Just about, yes, sir. Now, the building to the right is his neighbor, but along Calder, a lot of those are built almost property line to property line. And so his building was already there. So when he built the carport, he matched it to the building.
Okay, you can tell us about it.
And so the setback, of course, is 5 foot, so which is why we're here.
Right. Okay. Any questions of this witness? No. Okay. All right. Thank you. Who wants to speak with respect to this, for or against? And realize too that the way this works is that the applicant has the burden of proof. So we're hoping to hear from the applicant. If you're the applicant, I'd step up.
So I am the applicant.
Okay, and if you would, please come forward,
Okay.
identify yourself by name, tell us what relationship you have to the property, and then you can tell us whatever you'd like to.
I'm Scott Reeves, and I'm the owner of Struggle Street Brewing Company.
Okay?
If possible, could I get Tyler Wharton? He's the property owner, and GC the job.
Let's talk one at a time.
Okay. So we set it up together, having this patio built. Tyler had his contractors to come do it. They showed up on a weekend, knocked out, the job was done. There was no permit pulled. Tyler was going to pull the permit. On Wednesday is when we got the stop work. Someone had made a call in saying that we were pouring new concrete, therefore required permitting to do this, which we didn't pour any concrete. He said, everything's fine, just go down and pull the permit. We were having Ted Harp come do the windstorm on that Thursday, which he did, which has been submitted into the file. It's windstormed. The patio wasn't connected to the building, but I still had a windstorm done on it. As far as the setbacks go, the building is actually, there's some pictures. I thought I'd submitted them in the file, but maybe I didn't. I have them here. The building is actually 24 inches from the other building, and the patio is about 35 inches away from the other building. That area you see through there is not an accessible alleyway. It's, like I said, between my brick building and the brick building next to it, it's 24 inches with actually at the front of my building, there's a small fence blocking anything from there. No one walks through there, or they shouldn't. They better not walk through there. And then, like I said, so the patio cover, the steel beams are inside of our building as it is. If you were to throw something down there that was 35 inches wide, it wouldn't hit the patio, but it would hit my building before it would make it through. I guess that's all I have to say.
Well, let's back up a second. Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
First off, are you saying that the concrete that we see as the floor underneath this shed, that was already there?
Oh, yes, sir. That's been there for decades. This building was an old car wash years and years ago, and that concrete that's there is cracked, broke, been there for who knows how long, where they covered up the old car wash.
When you say that this patio that you put in is not attached to your building, how is it? Is it under an eave, or is it under some kind of, how's it drained? Or
it is right under an eave, and the contractor ran a piece of metal up that's just floating, a piece of flashing that's attached to the patio cover that just runs up under that eave so that the rain comes off the building onto the patio cover and off the end of it.
Yeah, and how did you make arrangements to tie your downspout to your neighbor's sidewall?
That was just we went and talked to him, because that's his downspout right there.
Yeah.
And it was we talked. We have a good relationship between us. I mean, we move each other's trash cans in and out. And it was hey, can we put a downspout right here next to yours and run it out the same way? Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions for witness? Okay.
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
If you look at the rear of your packet, the very last picture is one of the pictures that Scott did submit,
Yeah, this one
if you
here?
wanted a
Do-
closer.
do you-
I've seen that.
Okay.
Katrina, do you want, oh, you have those?
Yeah.
Okay, that shows the difference. Oh, I have a couple that do have measurements on them.
That's okay.
I know but I just wanted to make sure and take them just
I
because.
appreciate that. That's a good thing to do. Little rope rail's kind of cute.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So your building, not the carport, but the building and the adjacent building, you say are about 2 feet apart?
Yes, sir, they're 24 inches apart. I have a picture of that, whether it's needed or not, but my building, if you look down that right there, the distance between the green building and mine is 24 inches.
Yeah, this.
Yes, sir, right there, that picture. It's 24 inches between there.
So the property line, we think, is in the middle of that 24 inches?
I guess so. It's one of those, man, whenever we first pulled permits for this thing, it's like the property line and the plot maps and the city drawings and where this water was and where the sewer was, it's so old that nothing really made sense. So I don't know if the property line is at our building or at the green building or in the middle.
Right.
Are you sure if you get a 2-foot setback that it clears your patio?
Sir,
Are you sure that if you get a 2-foot setback, it'll clear your patio?
a 2-foot setback? Well, the patio is 35 inches away from the green wall.
Well, it's 35 inches away from the green wall, but how far is it from the boundary?
That I don't know, because I don't know where the boundary
You've asked for a
is.
setback from 5 feet to 2 feet. If we grant that, is that gonna save you, or do you know?
I didn't put those numbers in. Those numbers were brought up by somebody else. I didn't ask for a 2-foot or 1 foot. I just asked that we grant the variance to where the patio is currently at, considering that my building is 2 foot and the patio is further away than the building. I didn't put in any specific numbers.
Well, if we grant this and it doesn't save you, still got a problem.
What's that?
The problem is that if this post is within 2 feet of the property line and you don't know where the property line is, a 2-foot setback doesn't save you.
It looks like the building goes right into the property line.
Well, and that's the deal. If the building is right into the property line and that setback off of this is less than 2 feet, then that may not, that's what I'm saying. That may not give you
Yeah,
what you're asking
so-
for.
I get you, can it be reworded? Can it be reworded?
Yeah, I didn't ask for that. Someone else typed those 24
maybe
inches in
In
there.
a manner that just basically says that you can encroach onto the 5-foot setback and with some kind of language.
It's qu-
That doesn't tie it down to an exact distance.
Mr. Deussler, what's your opinion as to whether we can, how much variability we have in what we grant? Up to this point, it's been grant it, don't grant it, or grant it up to this point and deny beyond. We've not done a whole lot of amended.
I think under the circumstances and with the evidence, I think you can amend it if you like.
Okay. I just want to make sure we haven't failed in our open meetings posting requirements or anything like that, if there's some little glitch that we're running up against.
There's not an actual property survey as part of this package, so it's hard to.
You don't know.
No, you don't.
I can't tell.
I don't know exactly.
I'm just asking the question.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anything else of this witness? Would you like to have your,
I think we're good. We covered everything.
okay, all right, good enough then. Board, what do you think?
No problem. I mean,
Do you want to word a motion?
that's what I don't know how. You're the wordsmith attorney. I'm just a surveyor.
Ain't
engineer,
my
brother.
deal, man. It's, for me, it's give it or don't, but I'd be real reluctant to try to word this and make it work.
Maybe 2 foot up to 5 foot?
Well,
Well, you don't know about the
you
2
would say,
foot.
you would say less than 2 foot. You would say something, you know,
Without the survey.
without the survey, you don't.
You can't say it. So
Right.
you'd
You can't-
almost
you
have to
can't
say
give a
something
measurement.
at the location of the structure on June 18th,
Yeah.
2020. You know, you'd have to kind of
Yeah.
say.
And then 30 years from now, when
Who
that
knows?
thing's fallen down or some storm's taking it out, nobody knows
Where it was.
Exactly.
where the variance is.
Right.
And so it's a real dilemma.
can you say, you know, I'm
Hey,
not sworn in,
well, no.
that's deep?
Well, I was gonna say, you could say just, a variance to remove the 5-foot setback line in the location of the, patio.
I tell you what, how deep is the patio behind the building?
36 feet.
36 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about this? That a variance that waives the side setback requirement for, on the west side of the property for a distance of no more than 36 feet from the rear wall of the building.
Is that the
Is
west
that
side
good?
or the east
That was
side?
good,
That's
yeah.
good.
Okay.
What's,
That's
again,
the,
It's patio.
it's the northwest side.
It's the west side of.
It's the, with the west property line.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so it's the north side west property line.
Yes.
And so what we're looking at is the west setback.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm talking about. We're gonna waive the 5-foot minimum side setback requirement. Waive minimum side setback, 5-foot, requirement of 5 feet from back wall of the building for a distance of 36 feet.
Yeah, you can say northerly for a distance of.
Northerly, I'm sorry, Mr. Surveyor. That's marvelous. And do you need degrees on that?
No.
All right, so Mr. Rowe makes a motion
Yeah, I'll make that motion, whatever he said.
that,
And I'll second.
okay, all right.
We can straighten it all out later, but.
No. Mr. Rowe makes a motion that a variance be granted that waives the minimum side setback of 5 feet for a distant, from the, on the western boundary of the property, from a point beginning at the back wall of the building and extending north for a distance of 36 feet. Got that?
I think so, but I got a recorder too.
Great. All right. I heard the motion. I heard the second. Would you call a roll for the vote, please, ma'am?
Chairman Tamayo,
I vote for it.
Board Member Beaver,
I vote for it.
Board Member Hilliard,
4.
Board Member Rowe,
For.
Board Member Smith.
4.
All right. Congratulations. Wait 10 days and talk to the staff and clear
Yes.
us out. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is file 754BA, Brazos Sign Company, looking for a variance to the minimum sign, I think it was to maximum sign size requirement, of 3580 South Martin Luther King Parkway. It's written as minimum sign, but I think it is maximum.
It should be maximum, yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Janet Glasscock of Brazos Sign Company, 4 Beaumont Apartments, has applied for a variance to the maximum size requirement of 20 square feet and the minimum height requirement of 5 feet within the Urban Corridor Overlay District. Since then, just so you guys know, they are going to be just 5 feet, so they will not need the a variance to the height requirement. They did submit and shorten it to the 5 foot. This is for the property located at 3580 South Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway. The Urban Corridor District Overlay District states that one detached identification sign may be constructed to identify a single-family residential development of 10 acres or more. Such signs will be subject to the following conditions and restrictions. The sign shall not exceed 20 square feet in area, and the sign shall not exceed a height of 5 feet above the ground. The applicant states that these requirements will impede the visibility for attracting new residents at this property. The size submitted will be 49.02 square feet and 5 feet in height, which is smaller than the existing sign which is 75 square feet, located there now. We did mail 36 property owner notices. We received 1 in favor and 0 in opposition. This is the property and a site plan of the property. This is what's existing now. And then from across the street, across MLK. So they're requesting the variance, but the new sign will actually be smaller than this one.
And is the sign to go in the same position?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Any other questions of this witness?
Did you have one that showed the proposed sign?
Yeah, here you go.
Did you have one? Oh, okay.
I will,
This is what I was thinking about right here.
I can pass one of this for you.
Okay. Any other questions of the witness?
Go ahead, ask him.
No, no. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, the picture, I bring only one set of the picture.
That's all right. We'll pass them around.
Pass around.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't mind touching each other's pictures.
Thank you.
If you would, step up, say your name, tell us your relationship to the property, and then tell us whatever you will about this request.
No, some of your papers on the floor, you might need them, man.
You can take off the mask when you speak if you'd like.
Okay, all right.
It makes it a little easier to breathe.
Okay, I'm Tom Tran. I'm a property owner. I'm here to request that for the city to approve my new sign. The sign is actually, as it speak, it will be smaller than the sign that you see on the picture, which is 75 square foot. The new sign is around 30 square foot. But even 30 square foot is like a little bit larger than the city limit, that 20 square foot. But I'm here to request that you approve us to do 30 square foot sign, like the floor plan that we submit to you, because the reason that we believe the size should be 30 square foot, because on this road it is 50-60, the people driving 50-60 miles per hour, and just right after they pass this apartment, they will go into the freeway. So with the 20 square foot size on the six lane of traffic, people cannot see it from far away. With that driving, and when they get close to it, they will have to slow down to look at it, or they have to stare at it closely to look at it, and it could cause an accident. So that's the reason why we request to have a sign bigger. That's number one. Number two, that you can see, this ugly sign need to take down, and we need to put up a new modern sign that will make the city look prettier, the neighbor look prettier. As you can see, next to this apartment is the Beaumont University. Beaumont University is a face of Beaumont. Technically, it's a face of Beaumont. Why people come to Beaumont, they come to Beaumont University. And in the front of Beaumont, they have very beautiful landscape, very nice landscape. But you know, right next to us, if we have this ugly side, and we have to put a small side, which is people cannot even notice, then people don't know that the city of Beaumont is growing, it's changing. That's what you see. And now, when we have a new side and prettier side like this, when we put a new side, prettier side, we will attract the people who will come into our apartment and live. You honor see that this apartment used to call Collie House, and I have sent you two of this, and you see how the Google review on Collie House used to be 2 star. when it used to be Collie House. And when we took over the apartment, we maintain the apartment, we make the apartment look good, and how we get 4.5 Google store review. If you honor, I have give you some of the picture. If you could pass around, that you can see the before and the after, the before and after the, the renovation. We here to make the apartment prettier, bring a better living condition to the people of Beaumont. And by bringing more people here to live, then of course people will have to go down street only on 1 block away from left hand side or either 1 block away from right hand side, where they have to go grocery and buy food and stuff like that. So increase the business in the area, which is generate tax for the city. Not just that, not just only generate tax for the city, also improve people's life. Yeah, and the student go to school right there. They may well stay on our apartment, and and enjoy a better environment, thing like that.
Mr. Trent, what I'm seeing in the request is that the submitted size of the sign is 5 feet in height, so that's within the
Yes.
ordinance already.
Correct.
But that the sign size in surface area is 49.02 square feet, not 30, is what they've been saying. So I think what you're asking for really is a variance that allows you to go up to about 50 square feet. Is that more accurate?
No,
We give you 30, and you've already got a proposal for 49 square feet. That's not going to get you what you're looking for.
His new sign is even gone smaller. They're down to 30.5.
Are they 30.5?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And actually,
Okay.
so actually, and maybe Katrina, you can answer this possibly. In the ordinance, some of this is structured to hold the sign, okay? So is
Yeah.
it 20 square feet, like what encompasses the words,
No.
or the monument part itself?
No, it's the whole thing.
It's
The entire piece?
Yeah.
Look.
it doesn't call, in some parts of the ordinance, it calls out,
Right.
the 2 different pieces,
Mhm.
but in this particular part
It's
of the
the-
ordinance,
it's
it
the
does
whole
not.
thing.
Yeah, it's the
entire sign.
foundation of it.
Because the
basically.
actual sign itself
I
is
know.
only like 17.
I know.
Uh,
But we've had the same problem out on Major Drive too, where they
Yeah.
had the high road and you had to have that high base, and it threw signs way up and caused a lot more surface area. In this situation, you've got that role in
Mhm.
MLK that you gotta take into consideration as well. And quite honestly, I'm worried about visibility too. I'm worried about the height. So I'll give them the foundation.
Yeah.
They're within the height requirements, so that's.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'd give them some height too if they asked for it, but that's just me.
But I mean,
But when we're talking about this, when we do a variance on our situation, it's not just the surface area of the sign, the face of the sign. It's also takes into account a drop from there to the ground level.
To the ground area.
And you've got to take that surface area into account as well. So I think maybe we better be careful how we word it.
so if we stay with what was requested, the 40, whatever it is.
Well,
It's more than
that's a
what it is.
weirdness. I think it would be easier to round it to 50 and just say 50 and 5, if that's okay. And treat that as the request, if that's
For the height or for the width?
Well,
5 foot height, 50 square feet of surface area.
that would allow you to go 10 feet wide. Do you know how wide that
10 by
existing
5.
sign is? No.
I want to tell you, just look at that column, look at those bricks. When you say that's about 2.5 feet,
Mm-hmm.
so that's 5
But look
foot
at
of
how-
columns, and then that middle is probably 10 feet. No, not going to be.
Here's how long's the brick?
I only know that it's 75 square
Or
feet.
feet, is it?
That's
Was-
probably in the other paperwork I know.
Well, existing sign, it says 6'4" by 12.
Okay, 6'4". Okay.
Yeah, and so you're talking about
If you
giving
go-
5 by 10
if we
instead
look-
of 6'4" by 12. 5 by 10's.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
yeah.
I
So
think
you-
it's important that we don't allow it to be any bigger than what's already there.
Right.
No, it's gonna be smaller than it's already there. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So what we discuss here is that the new site is already smaller than the existing site,
Yes, sir.
and it also make the city look better.
We
But
understand.
let's say in case you not approving me this site, and if I stay with the old same site, it will not do anything better to the city, and it will not do anything better to the apartment.
No, sir.
So,
That's not what we're talking about.
you
What
know.
we're talking about is we're talking about taking a request that has some ambiguity in it
Mhm.
because it's 49.02 square feet of surface area, which
Mhm.
is just an odd size.
Mhm.
And we're talking about whether or not it would be a wiser thing if, when we make a motion
Mhm.
to grant the variance, if we called it 50 instead of 49.
Okay.
Okay? We're not asking to cut you down. We're trying to make it easier for you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Because
And we're trying, and we realize that once we make this variance,
yes.
that if you sold the property in
Mhm.
5 years or 10 years, the next
Correct.
person's gonna own the variance too.
Correct.
And if they change the sign,
Uh-huh.
then they're gonna need some clear direction as to what they can and can't do.
Correct.
And 5 feet by 49.02 is a weird thing. If we say 5 feet by
Exactly to be five.
10 feet, if we say 50 square feet and 5 feet high,
Uh-huh.
it's pretty clear to anybody that gets this property what that restriction is. And
Correct.
that's why we're having this discussion up here.
Okay, I understand now. I'm
All right.
I'm sorry for
That's
my
okay.
for my
That's okay.
inquiry.
We're running the weirdnesses that are in the variance law and the weirdnesses that are in the code to
Correct.
try to figure out how to make this a simple thing.
I appreciate, sir.
Okay.
What
just-
will be the construction of the sign? How, is it gonna be brick? Is it gonna be,
It's gonna be metal, sir.
the whole thing will be metal?
It's the whole thing will be metal. The foundation, of course, the foundation is concrete,
Mhm.
but it have a metal frame and it have like a metal sheet wrap around it. But where just on the bottom where it hold the side, but on the side itself, most of it just the structure is due to strong metal. But the wrap around it is use like a light aluminum sheet, make it look, make it stand out and can stand on the weather, so it's not gonna get rusted or something like that in a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Just so you know, when if they're granted the variance, when they apply for the sign, it will have to be set in a 120 square feet of landscaping. So it'll have landscaping. I think one of the pictures submitted shows the landscaping,
Right.
but that is a requirement too.
We
Just for your,
understand that too, and that's part of that's also part of the problem with surface area,
Okay.
because you got to raise that sign
Mhm.
above the landscaping,
Okay.
and that landscaping counts as part of your surface area.
Okay.
So, we're taking that into account. We're just
Okay.
giving a lot of thought to all these things that go into the city code,
Okay, sir.
as best we know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions for this witness?
I just have a statement I'd like to make.
Go ahead.
I noticed here, I've been past all the time going to work one time.
There.
I noticed you cleaned the place up,
Yes, sir.
look painted up, look a whole lot better.
I appreciate that,
Yes.
sir.
So I want to let you know that, that's all I have.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. That.
Is there anything else you want to say to this before we ask about who else wants to talk? We want you to have your full say before we quit.
I don't know what else to say unless you
Okay,
have some
good.
question that I can answer.
Okay, no other questions as far as I know.
Okay.
All right, anybody else want to speak for or against, or just make a comment on file 754BA? Hearing none. Gentlemen, do we need a discussion? Do we hear a motion?
I hear a motion.
Okay, you got a
Okay.
motion?
I'd make a motion that we accept as presented.
Okay, well, as presented with, but 5 feet high and 50
Right.
square feet? Okay.
Right. Mhm.
So the motion from my friend to the left is to grant a variance that allows, that maintains the 5-foot height requirement and allows a sign on this property in this position to expand to a maximum of 50 square feet of surface area
Right.
Yeah.
on each side. Okay?
Sounds good.
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Rowe, and would you call the roll, please, ma'am?
Chairman Tamaez?
I'm for it.
Board Member Beaver?
For it.
Board Member Hilliard?
Four.
Board Member Rowe?
For.
And Board Member Smith?
It's far.
Thank you very much, sir. You're
Thank
great.
you.
Next up, we have a question about a porch. At file 755, BA 2075 South Street. The applicant is Quentin Pete. And could we have the staff report on that request, please, ma'am?
Quentin Pete has applied for a variance to the minimum front yard setback for the property located at 2075 South Street. The property is zoned RMH and therefore requires a 25-foot front yard setback. The applicant is requesting to demolish the existing porch and rebuild it. The new porch will be 17.9 foot from the front property line and requires a variance to allow it. 19 notices were mailed to property owners. We received 0 in favor and 0 in opposition. So here's the property on South Street.
It's RMH?
Yes, RMH.
Go ahead.
And so, site plan as submitted. This is the front of the house. And then we have a side view. I think this is going east, or looking east.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any questions of the witness? Okay, is Mr. Pete in the audience? Could we hear from you, please, sir? And I presume that you're the owner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you just step up and say, I'm Quentin Pete, I'm the owner of the property, and tell us whatever else you want to say.
I'm Quentin Pete, I'm the owner of the property. When I
Speak up to the microphone, please, sir.
when
You can move it.
I got the surveyors, well, the reason why I wanted to do it because for one, the porch is small. I couldn't really sit on there and watch my kids. Me and my brother, we like to have our kids over there, and we couldn't even both sit on the porch at the same time to watch our kids play in the front yard. And it's real small. Even when it rains, the bottom of the, cause I had changed the doors, even on the side, the doors they was rotten from they had rusted from the rain hitting the door because the porch so small. And we both couldn't even sit on the porch at the same time. And he was like, man, well, I didn't know anything about getting permits and all that. So I called the surveyor people, and they came and surveyed it. And he even said that, he said, man, well, your porch, your house is back further than any house that's like at least like 3 blocks heading towards Central. I think the 3rd block. They got a house that sit like kind of like mine. And I was just looking like everybody else, got a nice big porch, and they porch. I mean, I'm respecting the property line or whatever, and respecting y'all, whatever the situation. I just said, man, but I didn't know that I supposed to got a permit and all that, and I had to end up buying all the wood and stuff and painting the house and trying to make it look good for the neighborhood, because I keep my grass cut. Me and my dad and them, we got a lawn service, and I just want to make it look good, and at least I can watch my kids play on the porch, because they love coming over there, because this is a nice neighborhood, and I love the neighborhood. That's the best I've ever stayed. And I was just wishing that y'all have mercy on me, and allow me to, build a porch or whatever. But the property line, I know it's 17.9, like she said, because that's what the surveyor said. But I just, you know what I'm saying, I got all the wood just sitting there, and it's pretty much rotting, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know. And the reason why the sign not up there, the red sign, is because when that bad storm just came through, it blew it off, and I wasn't looking for it. I couldn't find it.
Okay.
So.
Who's doing the work? You building it yourself?
Yeah, me. Like, it's pretty much like a little family thing. It's all of us, you know what I'm saying? We we all painted the house and all that. So I ain't know I was supposed to get a permit and all that. Just pretty much trying to make everything look decent. Because it didn't look like that at first. It looked horrible.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't want to leave the wood sitting around either.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
It should be noted that this is in the Oaks Historic District, so if you guys grant the variance,
He's
you
still
might
got
need
some
a
work to do.
condition that he has to get approval from Historic Landmark.
I understand.
Katrina, can you go back to the survey, just so that's up there on the screen? Please? All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So the main structure is behind the setback line.
Oh, way back.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and if he does this, he's still gonna be 15, he's gonna be more than 15 feet off the right of way, much less off the road.
I'll tell you
So-
the question that I asked earlier, right,
What was
so
that?
you understand kind of my take on this.
Yeah.
So I asked Katrina, and she and Adina kind of gave me the city's take on setback lines, because my take on this, I'm okay with this, because a lot of places in town with restrictions in the subdivision restrictions that are dedicated, porches are allowed across that front setback line.
Sure.
So staff was telling me that in their view, why they interpret the definition is that any part of the structure is part of the structure, porch is part of the structure. But I think, we know, from my experience in parts of town, that these porches are allowed to be across setback lines. I think this, and what he's done with the house.
He's done a
and
lot.
the work
I've
that-
noticed
the
that.
work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Yeah, and I agree, until somebody closes in the porch and makes a room out of it. And that becomes,
Well, yeah.
that's one reason why you gotta be careful about it.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying is, it's still more than 15 feet off the line.
right.
And if you're looking at other regulatory situations, 15 feet off the line and other things that we've done, if they're 15 feet off the line, sometimes it's like 25 or something like that. But that's a good setback.
I don't have all the report. Did it say what size the porch was gonna be? I see what's drawn here.
Yeah, there was something in there.
What's
And
that?
I started looking, I started trying to figure out what the square footage was and what it would be like to try to put 2 chairs on this porch. In fact, I went out in my garage, I kind of measured it on the floor.
16 foot in width and 8 foot.
16 foot wide, about 8 foot out from the house.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought it was 7 foot something, but it was something around 8 foot.
Yeah, in between 7 and 8.
It's between 7 and 8 foot deep. And so, it kind of takes that to be able to put a chair down and walk around it.
Attorney,
So, anyway, yes, sir.
I took all of my time yesterday to drive by there to make sure it was looking. I noticed the work. Matter of fact, the people that's working, that's people around your house there, the utility people. You saw those people?
Yes, sir. I seen them.
Yeah, I went by there to make sure everything is up and up. She did a lot of work. It looked real nice too, and you need a porch. I see that.
Yeah, I need a porch.
It needs some work, man.
I tried to sit on there, and me and my brother, we have to open the door. He got to get up and move. He's like, man, I'm just going to the house. Man.
So back up. We got another thing that we got to handle when we finish
Yeah.
with you, but let's, I want to ask just a little bit more. And that is, have you talked to the historic district people yet about this? Do you have any concept of whether this is going to fly with them at all?
No, sir, I haven't talked to him.
Well, we'll work blind on this, and you can go take your chances with the historic district folks. But unless there's some other question of the witness, I think it's time to sit back, make a motion, and see where we go.
Come on.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, you can step back, and let's hear a motion on this.
Make a motion, we approve file 755BA.
As
With
written
the
and
As written.
requested. Yes, sir.
With the condition of the historic district.
Well, we're gonna give the variance, the historic district can make their decision whether they approve as well.
It needs to go to the Historic Landmarks Commission, so it needs to have the condition that it go to the Historic Landmark Commission.
With the understanding that it'll go to the Historic Landmark
Yeah.
Commission.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the understanding that it'll
Yeah.
go to the Historic Landmark Committee.
that's fine.
That's
They would get their bite at it anyway.
I second that.
Okay.
And did you say 755?
755BA.
Okay.
This
Attorney
is
thought you said
755 BA,
76.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Chairman Tamayo,
I'm for it.
Board Member Beaver,
For,
Board Member Hilliard,
4.
Board Member Rowe,
For.
and Board Member Smith.
For.
Okay, next up, we got the Dollar General folks, for a property at 5595 Finette Road, our file 756BA. Could we have the report on that, please, ma'am? And this is for parking spaces.
Kirk Farrelly well, I don't think it's Kirk, but on behalf of Dollar General, has applied for a special exception to reduce off-street parking requirements for the property that will be located at 5595 Finette Road. Special exception allows a waiver to off-street parking when the board finds the same is unnecessary for the proposed use of the building for which the request applies. Submitted for your approval is the request and supporting information related to the Dollar General new location. By strict compliance with the City of Beaumont zoning regulations, the use would require 46 parking spaces. The proposed site has 9,100 square feet. This request would be to allow the store location to have the reduced number of parking spaces than required. The development site has limited space, and with over 16,000 locations, it has been determined that 30 spaces is more than adequate for the customer flow rate that is generated. 21 property owner notices were mailed out. We received 0 in favor and 1 in opposition.
It would be very helpful to us if you would, in your reports, word exactly what is requested. Is the request for a special exception to allow a reduction in required parking spaces from 46 to 30? Or is there some other number of parking spaces that are involved in this situation?
Are you asking me or
I'm asking.
telling me?
I'm asking. No, I'm asking you. Well, first I'm telling you. It's a lot easier for us if there is something in here that is a specific question that we can answer yes or no that's already worded.
Okay.
Okay. And number 2 is, given what's written here, is this really a 30 space, or have they got more than 30 spaces in the plan and you say 30 spaces is adequate?
They're requesting 30 spaces. The city's requirements are for 46 spaces. The applicant is requesting the reduction to 30 spaces.
Okay. And that's what if you count the spaces, that's 30 spaces.
That's what they're requesting,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right, that's good. Okay, yep, to allow for a total of 30 parking spaces. Okay, any other questions or witness?
you said there was 1 in opposition?
Yes, sir.
And where did that come from?
Do you want to look at it, or did you want me just to read it?
Did they,
You can do either. I just need to know, is it a person that's in proximity to the property?
Yes, sir. This came from a citizen that lives on Crestland Loop, which would be right behind. They state that we are a very small area, and this would bring too much traffic to a very small neighborhood. Just listening to this, I'm thinking they're talking about putting the Dollar General there. But,
Right,
yes.
right. They're opposed to the whole project. Which is, okay.
And then this would be the site plan that they're submitting, and right now, of course, it isn't built yet. So behind, they're going west south would be where Crestline Loop is.
Well, and here's another deal too. And I haven't looked up recently the standard of proof for a special exception, but we're talking about, and this is one of those quirky things that we got to follow, because if we ever get in a jam or somebody appeals, we need to make sure we've done it right. But this is a special exception request, but it was apparently presented on a variance application. And so, do you have handy the standard of proof and the findings that are required for a special exception? Because I don't have them quite memorized.
At the top, they've checked special exception.
Okay.
The application is the same. It just checks off special exception.
Are the standards of proof the same?
There's no requirement to meet the 3 conditions.
I'm sorry, what?
For s-
See, that's the thing. It was presented to us on a variance application.
That's the variance application.
Okay.
So, yeah, they didn't need to fill out that form.
Right.
They don't have to meet the 3 conditions for your approval.
But there is some standard of proof.
Really, it just says that they do not need to meet the 3 conditions for you to approve a special condition. That's all it says.
Special exception.
Special exception, sorry.
So there's no rule. what you-
There's really no
proof, no burden of proof?
no burden
Well,
of
there's a
proof.
burden of proof, but it's a question of the standard. Okay, good enough. That's what I needed to know. Thank you.
It's going to be in the Board of Adjustments. Okay, to hear and decide special exceptions to the terms of this chapter, the term special exception shall mean a deviation from the requirement of the zoning ordinance, specifically enumerated herein, which shall be granted only in the following instances, and then only when the board feels that such special exception will not adversely affect the value and use of adjacent neighboring property or be contrary to the public interest. And that's all. That's what it says.
Right.
So. But you're right about the form. There was a different form.
Yeah, but it really is. I remembered it was in the public interest and not detrimental, but I didn't remember exactly the wording.
That's exactly what the ordinance says.
Okay, all right, good enough. Thank you.
Mhm.
So, any other questions of the witness? All right. Are you Mr. Forelli?
No, sir. Jason Garcia. Mr. Forelli is my director of engineering. I'm a partner of the development company.
Okay, if you would come up, state your name, tell us what your representative capacity is.
Sure.
And then tell us how you contend that the request for a reduction from 46 spaces to 30 is in the public interest and not detrimental to the neighborhood that surrounds the property.
Yeah, absolutely. First, my name is Jason Garcia. I'm the managing partner of Capital Growth Buckhalter. I actually live in Lake Charles, Louisiana, so that's why I'm attending for Mr. Fairley's instead of traveling him in from Birmingham. And forgive us, first of all, if we filled out the wrong form or
You filled out. It's okay.
we try to give justification. We've developed about 1,000 of these build-to-suit developments all over the United States. I'm a general contractor as well. Personally, built about 150 of them, and a few of them here in Beaumont as well. The reason for the request is pretty straightforward. Decrease impervious pavement so we can have more green space on the lots. The need is not there for the parking spot, the 45 parking spaces that we've 17,000 stores almost for Dollar General now. They've studied this pretty well. So why build what's not needed and cover up a sea of parking lot? Everybody's fighting stormwater, so the more green space you have, everything is better. That's the general theory. We're obviously on a fairly tight lot here. We could squeeze in more spaces if we needed to, but why do it when it's not needed? It's detrimental to. We view it as detrimental to the community because we can put some more landscaping on this site if we have more green space, and also again, we'll have a better stormwater management area on this site, so that's always a concern for everyone.
Is there some consideration of the size of the parking spaces that you can put if you put fewer of them?
We will, sure, we'll agree to put whatever the board wishes.
Well, I'm not making a suggestion, I'm just asking,
We generally
are you putting in a bigger parking space than you would otherwise?
in Texas, we generally do 10 by 20s. You can do, I think, what is code here, 9 by 19? 9 by 18. We do 10 by 20s because the trucks are just, everybody drives a pickup truck here, me included. So, sure, I mean, the handicap spots are the different size because that's what they're ADA prescribed to be, but generally it works pretty well. You know, these stores have steady traffic all day long. There's really not a peak time per se, so you know, we've done them as few as 17 parking spots in some more dense urban areas. That's probably too few, but 30 is probably too many, quite honestly. But that's just 28 to 30 is their sweet spot where Dollar General likes them to be, so that's what we put forward.
Okay. Any questions of the witness? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there a motion with respect to file 756BA?
So move. That be accepted.
Second.
Would you call a roll, please?
Chairman Tamayo.
I'm for it.
Board Member Beaver.
For,
Board Member Hilliard.
Four.
Board Member Rowe. Board Member Smith.
For.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. We're done.
had the same
Hearing no
thing
more
over Major Drive a
business
couple
to
years
come
ago.
before us, we are adjourned. We've had several ones this month. We've had Dollar General and Dollar Store. and we've
They're
had-
everywhere, they're everywhere.
But, and you know, that's part of being a blind community, is having a convenience store, how many dollar stores we have, but they have done studies. And, you know,
Well, I mean, here's the deal.
we've heard this so